Welcome, everyone. We are live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on this Monday evening, January 13th, 2020. 2020, perfect vision. That's the motto for this year, and we are so glad that you're with us. My name is Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty, and I'll be your co-host this evening for the next 2 hours, along with the very wonderful, most excellent Dr. Carolyn Dean. And we are inviting you to be part of this wonderful radio show broadcast, 2-hour show, and also wanting to let you know and remind you this is a talk show, so we talk, but yes, you talk too, and that's what we encourage this evening. If you're new to the show, call in and talk with Dr. Dean about the things that you're concerned with, your health, your body, your mind, and we'll help sort those things out. 602-666-6027 is the call number. I will repeat it throughout the show. Again, that number, 602-666-6027. And if this evening or any time during the time that you download the replay of this show through a podcast or any other venue, and you want to follow up with a question or something that you've heard on this broadcast, please use this email. It's questions, questions, questions at drcarolyndeanlive.com, drcarolyndeanlive.com. And I bet what you're wanting to know is, what are you going to get out of listening and being with us this evening? And I can guarantee you 100% every single time, without fail or exception, every single one of our listeners always feels better. And why do they feel better? Because they are talking with the very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. And just in case you've not met her before, maybe you've read her book or maybe you've taken one of her formulas, but if you haven't met her in person, here are some great things that you'll want to know about her. First of all, she is a medical doctor and a naturopath. She is the author of over 35 books. 35 books. She is a prolific writer, ladies and gentlemen, including The Magnesium Miracle, which is probably the one you're most familiar with. Also, IBS for Dummies, Hormone Balance, and the one that's out of print and not available anymore, but was a gangbuster in its day, which is Death by Modern Medicine. She's also written 110 Kindle books. And one of the other things that she's done in her amazing life of going to medical school, being involved at the head of the health freedom movement, being involved with everything that is natural and wonderful and safe about nutritional medicine, homeopathy, and all kinds of other things. But here's something that she just stunned everybody with. She actually started to retire and then got swept up in being the CEO of her own company and is now running in her national multi-million-dollar company, reaching out and providing these proprietary formulas all over the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no end to what our very own Dr. Dean can do. But what she usually does on her radio show in just these 2 modest hours that she'll be with you is usually you end up feeling a lot better. Why? Because you get the confidence that she has, what she knows, and the escrow that she's built within herself over the last 50 years, that she knows that the body does function, that she knows what nutrition will do for the body, and even more specifically, she knows what she's put into her own formulas and her own recommendations and how she may be able to help you improve. So without further ado, we're going to bring her on the line this evening and say welcome, welcome to our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. There she is.
Yeah, Ginny, you know I won't come on unless I hear the children. I'm speaking to the children. Yes, yes, yes. Now, what we are going to do at the beginning of our shows is remind you about several things. And the first one, I guess, is when you go to rnareset.com, which is our product site, you will at the top see one of the links is Research Project. So I want everyone to be clicking on that and looking at our Grassroots Health Research Project, where we measure vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, and TSH. What we're doing here is aligning with this research, which uses one laboratory to do these tests. I've been kind of hesitant about tests over the years because people will go to the 5,000 different labs and have 5,000, slightly different answers. But we're trying to create information, feedback, get statistics so that we can better fine-tune people's intake of our dietary supplements. That's what we're trying to do here. We know clinically that our people are feeling better, but could we feel even better? Could that be associated with the appropriate levels of these nutrients in your body? So that's number one. The other is we want you to keep referring your practitioners. The only way you're going to see this type of work expand is if you take part in it, because there's no way this information is getting out to the public through medical training, through the media. There's no way it's getting out there. It's only our little radio show and the referrals we get to individuals. But also now, if you refer your practitioner, that practitioner will be able to help thousands of people. Referral candy is a way that you can refer friends and family and get a 15% discount every time you refer somebody. And what else, Jenny? What am I leaving out? Oh, yes, I usually go through our magnesium deficiency survey. If you go to our homepage, you'll find at the bottom, or perhaps it clicks up the very first time you go to RNA Reset, our, what's it called, assessment. Are you magnesium deficient, we say. Nearly half of all Americans and 70 to 80% of those over 60 aren't meeting their daily magnesium needs. Now, I think it's like 80% across the board myself. So you take this assessment to find out, and what are we finding out? We're going to have 10,000 people who've answered this survey within the next month or so, and 64.3% experience anxiety, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Another 63.8%, or maybe the same 63.8% experience insomnia, 51.7% muscle cramps, 46.6% heart palpitations, and they think they've got heart disease, and they may have simple magnesium deficiency that we can help with. Restless legs, 42.6%, headaches, 28.1%. So today's blog, as I said, it's about anxiety. And the title of Ginny's blog, which comes in your email every Monday morning, and it can be found at drcarolyndeanlive.com. It's called Stress, Anxiety, Panic, Magnesium to the Rescue. And yes, we know stress is such an overworked word, but we all suffer physical, emotional, and mental stress every day. And every bit of that drains our magnesium. Stress is a response to circumstances that force a person to act quickly, change, or make some adjustment to keep things in balance. When a person is stressed, his or her body automatically jumps into an action which is called a fight or flight response. It is normal to be stressed. We all know that. And because it's normal, the body has ways to cope with stress. It's all built in. We produce some adrenaline and cortisol to make you able to have this fight or flight response to protect yourself. But as we've all probably heard, today's stressors aren't that cut and dried. It's not like escaping from a tiger. So what happens is that today's stresses just keep on going and going and going. And when we're stressed, our bodies immediately respond to the stressors by telling our nervous systems and stress hormones that it's time to act. When we face a threatening situation, and here's what's really cool about the physiology and biochemistry. When we're faced with a threatening situation, our hypothalamus tells the adrenal glands to produce more hormones, and that's the adrenaline and cortisol, and they're released into the bloodstream. And experiments where adrenaline is given intravenously. Bob, will you get rid of this phone, please? Let me just get Bob to... Sorry, folks. That that was very stressful having to deal. We usually put the second phone upstairs when I'm on the call. So the hypothalamus releases the hormones into the bloodstream. And experiments where adrenaline is given intravenously shows it decreases magnesium as well as calcium, potassium, and sodium. So it's a mineral burn. So this proves that when you are in a revved up state and burning adrenaline, you're also burning off magnesium. And another really interesting thing that Jenny wrote about here is that there are more than a dozen major metabolic processes that are affected by bursts of adrenaline, including heart rate, blood pressure, blood vessel constriction, which also leads to blood pressure, contraction of all the muscles, which leads to tension, and including contraction of the heart muscle. Thus, we feel palpitations, shortness of breath. We may experience high blood pressure. All these symptoms are the body's reaction to stress. Our blood vessels open up wide and allow more blood flow to the muscles so we can run. And the stored glucose from the liver pours into the bloodstream to create much needed energy so we can run away. And guess what? Each of these functions requires magnesium to bring them back into balance. Prolonged stress can create magnesium-deficient anxiety, and I've written a booklet on that. You can download it from drcarolyndeanlive.com, magnesium-deficient anxiety. Anxiety can also be created when fear is present. Fear stemming from predictable or unpredictable situations, which may be real or imaginary. Although anxiety is a terrifying experience, it is, unless taken to the extreme, not dangerous in terms of it won't kill you. And it is a common emotion, but persistent and prolonged stress that keeps the body off balance may be related to magnesium and mineral deficiency. And we all know millions of people who try unsuccessfully to cope with stress and anxiety by taking pharmaceuticals or through behaviors that put even more stress on the body, such as overeating, smoking, alcohol abuse, or use of street drugs. We're a nation suffering a 32% incidence of stress-related anxiety, depression, and drug problems. Instead of treating stress reactions properly with magnesium, each year millions of people are introduced to the merry-go-round of psychiatric drugs and psychological counseling for symptoms that may in fact be rooted in magnesium deficiency. So we have new listeners, of course, but I think most people are realizing that magnesium supplementation is a safe, effective solution for the fight-or-flight response to stress and anxiety. Consistent daily use of our highly absorbed liquid magnesium, REMAG, and we know that clinically our REMAG shows improvement of magnesium levels in just one dose, and that's actually the conclusion of one small arm of one of the studies we're doing, university studies we're doing. We'll be able to talk more about that when the paper is published. So even one dose of REMAG will help your depleted body, and you may experience immediate relief, as many of our customers tell us they do. We didn't think it was possible. We thought, my gosh, people just take one little dose and they start feeling benefits. But this study said, yep, the ionized magnesium blood levels of one dose of Remag show a measurable increase compared to placebo and other controlled magnesiums. I won't state what they are right now. We'll wait for the paper. So when stacked against its, quote, competitors, Remag is inexpensive, easy to use, and does not promote side effects like pharmaceutical products or other psychological soothers like nicotine, alcohol, sugar, and it does not have the laxative effect. That was another thing that was revealed in our study. So there's Ginny's blog. Ginny, what have I left out?
No, very good, very good. I think it's all wonderful. The only thing is what do you think, how long, one of the worst things about having anxiety is it can't go away quickly enough. How long do you think that people have to be on Remag, and what, or the other formulas, or how do you see that going for people to actually get the relief that they want from the anxiety that they're under?
Right. That's a great question, and a couple of people who wrote in mailbag questions today. One of them was even saying, well, I took it for a while and I was feeling better and now my anxiety is back. And that usually means they're just not taking enough. Or, the scary thing about anxiety is that you don't want to take something that will make you worse. So you're hesitant about taking anything, even Remag, where you hear all these good things about it. All your friends and family are taking it and having great results, and you take it for a little while, and then you feel a little revved up, so you stop it, and then you feel worse. So there's really something to be said for going very slowly with the Remag. If you're taking it for anxiety especially, or if you're very sensitive to supplements or drugs, you can take it by the drop. We have people who'll take a couple of drops in the whole liter of sea salted water and sip that through the day, and they will even start feeling better on just a few drops. But you have to keep increasing it every few days. Put in a few more drops, because you really do have to get to the RDA that I recommend, which is actually about 600 milligrams. The RDA that you'll find on government or medical websites is more like 350 to 400 milligrams, and I'm suggesting our 2 teaspoons equal to 600 milligrams is kind of a starting place for most people. If you're also taking medications or under major stress, you might even need 3 and 4 teaspoons. Even after years of taking angstrom magnesium, which was supposed to give me some magnesium, I still had to take Remag at 4 teaspoons a day, 1,200 milligrams, for a year and a half before I could start weaning back, which was when, my heart palpitations were gone, leg cramps gone, headaches gone, insomnia gone, and then I started to get a bit of laxative effect. So I was able to cut back till today. I'm only on 1 to 1.5 teaspoons a day. Now, I didn't have anxiety, but I certainly had the heart palpitations and the kind of the adrenal exhaustion. So for all that, when I started taking Remite, I needed less Remag, and it helped support my adrenal glands. I was putting the sea salt in the water. Sodium is really important for the adrenals, as is vitamin C and the B vitamins, and we have the Bs in methylated and food-based form in our Reline, and we have food-based vitamin C along with some RNA powder in our Whole C Reset. So all these nutrients are important. It's not just about Remag being a drug that's going to treat your anxiety. it really is looking at the whole picture of the nutrients that help run our bodies. Now, a couple of testimonials and blog questions let me get to. Here's a testimonial that's in the Magnesium Miracle. And our British customer says, a very special friend of ours was going through a very bad patch earlier this year. A relative who she was extremely close to was suffering with liver failure, and another relative who had prostate cancer had just had a test showing a rise in his PSA despite his good diet and supplement regimen. My friend said she was suffering from dreadful stress and feeling constantly anxious with a tight pain constantly around her chest. I suggested, now this is the customer saying this, I suggested maybe it would be good to try some of the Remag that her husband was taking. I think she thought it would be a waste as it wouldn't change the situation. Fortunately, she did try it, and literally a few days later she started feeling better. Her chest pains went away, as did her nightly cramps, and the constant feeling of tension lessened to such a degree she felt she could cope once more. Sadly, her relative with liver failure died a few weeks later, but she said the Remag really helped her through what was an incredibly stressful situation. So that's what we're looking for, is support of the body so that the adrenals aren't trigger happy, the adrenals are calm and able to put out adrenaline appropriately and not, for example, the adrenaline rush that you get when you hear a loud noise behind you, someone slams a door or a car backfires and you jump out of your skin. That is a stress reaction, an adrenal reaction, and when the adrenaline pumps out, then the magnesium is burnt off. A mailbag question today: can magnesium help in aiding someone to cope with PTSD or trauma or even hypervigilance? I've been taking Remag, Remind, and Realign, and it has been great so far. My anxiety has eased after months of feeling anxious, getting panic attacks, and having depersonalization. I wanted to thank you for these great products. So this is Wendy speaking, and she's doing great. She's added the Remind and the Realign. We'll also suggest she adds the Whole C Reset for the vitamin C that supports the adrenals as well. And the PTSD, what I do there is I definitely tell people to go on the complement formulas, but also to look at EMDR. Let me look that up. You go to a website, emdr.com, and it's an eye movement technique. Let's see if they explain it here. And they do have practitioner, they have practitioner lists, find a clinician, EMDR therapy books and clinical aids, and information about this. It's a basic sitting with a practitioner, and they tell you to move your eyes in certain positions. They may ask you questions or ask you to review your trauma and then desensitize you from the trauma. It's quite incredible. No drugs involved. So with the support of the complement formulas, then you're able to face a situation where you're in type of therapy, but it's not the type of therapy where you just keep going over and over and over the horrible things that you suffered and reinforcing the horror. The next mailbag question about this blog: I'm wondering if in the process of attempting to raise magnesium levels, can anxiety and stress response actually increase? I'm sleeping worse than ever and feel stressed for sure after 6 months of Remag. What could one use to lessen the stress response? So this is actually what I mentioned earlier. We don't know how much Lynn is taking or if she's on and off, if she has severe PTSD, if EMDR might help. So we'll be getting back to Lynn with all those questions to see if we can fine-tune her her protocol. And I think I may have answered her or another person recently where I said you have to take it slowly, the Remag, build it up slowly, and don't stop, which will cause kind of a withdrawal effect. You have to look at the Remite and the Realign and Whole C Reset as well. And now there are some testimonials from the Magnesium Miracle that I came across. So let me just go over those quickly. Someone says, I've been using Remag for about 2 weeks for my anxiety attacks, and they already feel so much better. I'm up to 1 teaspoon twice a day. Another one, I've been sleeping very well, experiencing very little or no anxiety, hardly any or no heart palpitations. This is after having suffered AFib and anxiety for almost 10 years. I'm stronger in the evening hours than I used to be and can do many, many things throughout the day and night that I couldn't do before without some kind of reaction. I do relax and rest and pace myself. I faithfully take my Remag, Remite, Realign, and RNA drops. Sometimes I don't always get all my salt water down, but I aim to reach my goal every day. Another person, I'm doing all your formulas now as well as a soil-based probiotic and feel fantastic. My night sweats have ceased and I have no more issues with my Crohn's disease. Everything is moving along great. I have no more anxiety issues and I have increased energy. What more could I ask for? And the last one, I just want to thank you. Because of you, I've renewed hope in life. I have all the signs of magnesium deficiency, things I never thought about, like low blood pressure. I thought that was a good thing, but it's gotten so low in the past that I had severe vertigo. I saw a doctor the day after I literally could not get up, and she said she was surprised I was vertical. She gave me IV minerals. She said to drink Gatorade, but I took sea salt water instead like you recommend. I also have magnesium deficiency, muscle tension, and anxiety that started in early menopause 19 years ago, for which I was prescribed Xanax. I'm already able to taper off that. I have many other niggling symptoms, all due to magnesium deficiency. I love what you write about first replacing minerals, not hormones, and I love your minerals. It all rings true and feels true. And, yes, one more mailbag question, Ginny, before I come back to you. I have muscle tension and pressure at the base of my head more often than not. Is this magnesium something that could help with that? I'm currently on migraine medication, but it doesn't seem to help the tension. So, yes, absolutely. I mean, migraines themselves will be treated with the Remag as a magnesium deficiency symptom, and definitely base of the skull, top of the neck, muscle tension is magnesium deficiency symptom. So, Kristen, hopefully you hear this message. And over to Ginny. Let's see if we can get in all the callers this week.
Okay, yes, because last week we fell short. Now, again, 602-666-6027 is the number to call. If you have a question or comment for Dr. Dean, you've got to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will put a little signal on your phone number here in the studio board and let me know you have a question or comment. Otherwise, your phone remains on mute. And so far, I have lots of callers and only one raised hand. So I want to make sure if you feel that you've got a question for Dr. Dean that you hit that *5 so I can know you're there. Now, before we go on to our callers, I do want to say we have a couple questions on the chat line, Carolyn, so we want to go over those and talk with the people who are chatting in to the show about their concerns. One of them is from Catherine, who types in, I've been taking Remag for 3 or 4 years, and I do have major anxiety. It has helped some. I can honestly say that it hasn't helped 100%. I'm up to 3 to 4 teaspoons. Any more and I get the laxative effect. It has definitely helped my AFib, though, and I'm on all the whole complement formulas. So I think the Remag, Remite, Realign, RNA drops, and restructured bundle.
Right. Okay. Well, Catherine, yes, that's important to know because if a person still has anxiety, and as you say, you're on 3-4 teaspoons, that's a good amount. You're on all the formulas, that's great. That's when I would either tell people to look into the total biology reason for the layering of trauma that creates anxiety and then keeps anxiety. So there's Dr. Holt for the total biology. And then there's this EMDR experience that you can go to a practitioner. Hopefully people can find one near them. And, kind of explore a little further where it doesn't necessarily have to be kind of psychological in the sense of needing a psychiatrist at all. But seriously, if you have had some major vulnerability, you can even go back to school days where you were asked to stand up in front of the classroom and give a speech or something, and the kids laughed at you, or you just couldn't do it, or you ran out of the class all embarrassed. That type of trauma can put a layer in your consciousness or your psyche. And then if that particular type of trauma is reinforced over the years, I mean, you hear about people who say they just cannot do public speaking. It's just beyond them. And then maybe they'll go to a hypnotist and they'll be relieved of that. I'm not saying EMDR or total biology is hypnosis, but what is done is try to figure out, well, when was this anxiety first triggered? What was the person going through? Could it have been, the divorce of parents, etc.? You get my drift. I mean, it is caused by something. And what the REMAG is going to do is help you cope with things that are copable. But if there's some trauma that your body keeps bringing up, in order to bring it to your attention, in order for you to deal with it and get rid of it, then that's something that you should look at. And the tools are total biology and EMDR.
Excellent response. Yes, very, very good. Excellent. Julie also typed in and said, good evening. I'm almost 50. I'm taking 3 teaspoons of REMAG, 1.5 of Remite, a teaspoon of Pico Silver, a half a teaspoon of the Redmond sea salt, and 2 liters of water, vitamin C, a Realign, Blue Ice Royal 2 times a day, and lotion at night. Started in June 2019. I do work out and eat pretty healthy, but I have a stressful job. I am exhausted by 7 p.m. Whew. Would you recommend more REMAG or any other products? Can you talk more about the RNA reset drops would do for people or the benefit of those?
Yes. Ginny, did Julie say if she was on the RNA reset drops or not? I missed that.
No, she's not. She's not taking any drops yet.
And that could help. With a stressful job, what it means is a person brings worries home. They worry at work. They worry at home. It's always on their mind. What the RNA reset drops is gives you a sense of detachment. So you just say, well, chuck it if you don't like it. But at the same time, you're able to keep up with the work. But there's a detachment that comes that allows a person to deal with crazy. So the RNA reset drops are definitely the next step. And in terms of more REMAG, I mean, you could get the REMAG lotion and use that. You probably already do, but you don't want to go too high and get the laxative effect unnecessarily. But do the RNA reset drops, Julie, and let us know what happens.
Yes, and let me remind our audience, too, that RNA means relax and allow. They are the Relax
right.
and Allow drops, and that was part of the impetus for bringing them forward in the beginning was that, as Carolyn says, the detachment, the relaxation that just comes from releasing and letting non-physical also step in and support your work. So there's lots of options there, and I think that'll be great. Yeah, but we haven't called them the Relax and Allow drops for a long time, Carolyn.
No, that's great, and also, some of the tools that we learned in the process of learning about Relax and Allow and non-physical, you can create a to-do box where on the tiny little stickies, write down what you want your non-physical to take care of. It's like, my boss is a creep. Help me deal with it. And I don't know if it's you're writing to your angel servants or to your non-physical or who you're asking for help, but you are supported. I mean, you're supported with your completement formulas. You are supported with Ginny and customer service, but you're also supported by your own non-physical, by your own true God self. So you can write out all these things that bother you and put them in the box. And in my, my online wellness program, Completement Now, I talk about your nightly dump box where you write out maybe the things that you have to do the next day, but it also can be the things that are bothering you. You write that out and you put it in a box, and it is out of your head, so that you're able to go to bed and go to sleep and not wake up and not constantly have things on your mind worrying you. So there you go, and let us know how that works out. Yep.
And this also reminds me, Carolyn, that another thing that we did was we did a great YouTube on the Labyrinth of the Mind, remember? I think that was in 2017, wasn't it? And we talked about some of the emotional and mental blocks to healing or relief that can come. And so I'll post that, the Labyrinth of the Mind and different strategies, because I think that was in there because we talked about your 7 pillars, right?
Yes. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, we do have a lot of resources. Yeah, very good. we only remember them.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. All right, very good. Okay, so here's some other wonderful things that you can work with. I'll post that on the chat line as soon as I can remember how to spell labyrinth. Now, one of the questions also who came in from Tanner was, hi, I deal with anxiety and anxiety attacks. I take 350 milligrams of Natural Calm and 150 milligrams of Remag. This dosing stopped my heart palpitations, but it didn't help the anxiety much. Right now, my dose is about 500 milligrams a day. Should I take more? How much is typical for someone who struggles with these things? Let me know what you think. I'm afraid I'm going to take too much.
Well, taking too much would be the laxative effect. I mean, this magnesium from any source is kind of a water soluble. It runs in and runs out. So what you do is you increase your Remag and decrease your Natural Calm, because that's what will give you the laxative effect. And you increase the Remag to 2 and 3 teaspoons. And as I said, the only side effect would be a laxative effect, which most people don't reach. I know people will say, well, on the radio show we always hear about the laxative effect. Well, that's folks who are having that problem, who call in and want help and support. You don't know the hundreds of thousands of other customers who do not have the laxative effect. So just be aware of that. So all I'm saying, Tanner, is increase your Remag, decrease your Calm. Read more about this condition in my Magnesium Deficient Anxiety book at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and be prepared to take the Realign for the B vitamins, which are very important for the nervous system, the whole C reset for the adrenals and the remite. So give your body the support of all the nutrients that it's likely missing. And you've already had some benefits from what you've been taking, so you're just going to expand your repertoire.
Very, very good. Very, very good. Now, our dear friend Margaret said, and we love Margaret. Hello, Margaret. Margaret, I'm going to make this just for you. We love Margaret so much. Margaret's been our faithful customer for years and years. She's such a sweetheart. She ran around her town and made everybody Remag. She's hilarious. But she said, Dear Carolyn and Jenny, Remag is so wonderful, but due to the fact that I have to do so much more for my husband, I found myself getting really stressed. I upped my Remag from 2 3/4 teaspoon, to 2 3/4 from just a teaspoon. And she's on a teaspoon because she's on the health maintenance. Margaret's been on the formulas for a long time. And no laxative effect. My body just uses it all, and I'm feeling so much better. I'm so happy to have learned to play with my dosage. Thank you all to my all to my RNA Reset angels. I send you much love and gratitude, Margaret.
Oh, good for her. Yeah, there you go. And yes, if your body is burning off the magnesium and you take more to replace it, yes, you will not get the laxative effect because your body requires it, and it doesn't dump it out. It won't dump it out because your body requires it. So that's reinforcement from Margaret there about being in charge of your own dosage. Excellent. Thank you, sweetheart.
Peter
and
says,
let me just say, give our love to Bill too. I'm sorry he's feeling a little out of sorts, but
out of sorts.
Yeah, give our love to Bill. Okay.
Absolutely. The other thing, Peter types in, says, hi. When using the Remag lotion for muscular aches and pains, should you rub it into the muscles and avoid bone, or is bone okay too?
Bone, muscles, anywhere. But I tell people to sort of gently swab it on with your hand. If you use a lot of friction, a lot of rubbing, it can irritate the skin. I mean, we're talking about a good amount of Remag in that little handful of Remag lotion. So you don't want to irritate. The Remag is absorbed so well through the skin that you don't have to rub, and you can put it over bone. I mean, people are putting it on their scalp for hair growth. But Jenny, let me sidebar this. I think people are putting Remag liquid on their scalp for hair growth. They wouldn't put the lotion on, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny has
sure did.
Beautiful hair. Beautiful. Okay. So there you go, Peter. Go. Yeah. Go for it.
Yep. And you can. And now my husband uses Remag lotion as an aftershave when he shaves. It's very gentle though too, so you're not going to tear up your skin or anything using it. Just want to add that. Okay. Sean says, why sea salt? Also, does Himalayan salt or any other clean salt work? Question mark.
The salt, if it's got some coloration to it, it means the minerals are still in there. They haven't been processed out. I'm leery of white sea salt. And why sea salt is it's the original salt. It's the salt in the Bible. It's the salt from salt licks that the animals require for their health. It's the salt from the sea that has 72 minerals. It's got 3 times the magnesium, there's calcium. So it's all these minerals that we should be getting from rich mineral-rich water that we no longer get. So you can Google sea salt in my name and find out what I say about it. What do we tell people? What's Nicola Antonio's book called?
The Salt Fix. The Salt
Fix. Yeah. So this doctor who's a PhD cardiology researcher, he's written a book called The Salt Fix, and he says salt does amazing things. And I think he goes a little overboard, but he quotes the literature and everything and says how wonderful salt is. We've just gotten away from doing anything natural. The doctors that talk about salt being bad for you, they're talking about table salt, which is just straight sodium chloride. And, yeah, you don't want to just do a processed sodium chloride. You want all 72 minerals. And, people say, oh, I hate the taste. Well, start with a pinch. Or they're afraid of it. Well, start with a pinch. And all the fears that people have about salt can be alleviated when you start taking the sea salt and you feel better. So there.
And now we talk about sea salt in the water, but also a really good sea salt. Don't you think it brings out the flavor of your food? Now, this is not to, compete with what we're talking about, salt water. But when you have it in your kitchen, you're going to use it on your food. And don't you think it makes your food taste so much better, Carolyn?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't pay much attention to food, Ginny. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't?
Only when I'm with you. Only when I'm at your house do I pay attention to food because it's so awesome.
Very good. Yes, we're still foodies. Foodies is fun. Life is for food. That's what I think. Okay, let's see. Now, Nicole typed in and said, where did she go? Nicole, I just said here. Hi, I am similar to the customer you just spoke with. I take all the other products, but the anxiety is not better. Better, but not completely gone. I did work with Dr. Holt. I never did EMDR. Any other thoughts?
If it's similar, well, maybe kind of like what Margaret said. She added to her stress, so she took more Remag. Maybe you could keep going on the Remag to see if 4 teaspoons will break through. But also really do look at the layers of stress and the layers of anxiety, and talk to yourself about why you have gotten into the triggering of stress. Was there an initial event that caused it? Are you getting anything out of being anxious? Does it get you out of doing things or being with people? All that sort of psychological layering of anxiety. But yes, definitely try the EMDR, because it could have been a past trauma that you aren't even aware of anymore.
And Carolyn, don't forget, you recommended lithium for me a couple years ago, and I enjoyed that for a while. So there's something else to consider as elemental lithium.
Oh, right. Yes, I'm sorry. There's so many possibilities. So did anyone write about a book on low-dose lithium yet, Ginny? Do you know?
Yeah, I think that's, I'll make sure. Let me quote it in the second hour so I can look at it for sure.
Yes.
Who it is, because we had the reference before, and I just want to make sure I say the right thing. But, yeah, I think he's up in Washington State. And let me see if I can find it right now. But anyway, yeah, we do have a medical reference for that. And somebody who's up in Washington State. So we'll come back to you on that. But that's also something.
Well, let me just say, though, that lithium has been used medically in very high doses for people with major depressive disorders, and I think even manic disorders, and then bipolar and depression. And somehow, maybe it was this doctor. I'll actually have to get the book and read it now. Found out that very low amounts. We're talking like, instead of 200 milligrams, something like 10 milligrams, for example, would help alleviate symptoms of anxiety and depression. So It's something that's safe because it's such low dose and seems to be effective. And it's really not something you're going to hear about in medicine because, they like people to be taking the 200, 300 milligrams as a drug, not take it as just a supplement nutrient. Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead, Ginny.
Carolyn, I did not know Dr. Hans Napier, who was the one who got involved with the lithium from the beginning, is actually an orthomolecular physician.
Right. Oh, it was Hans, was it? Okay.
It was Hans, and he then, who kind of picked up on what he was putting down was Dr. Jonathan Wright up in Renton, Washington.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So he's the one who, but anyway, I found the link of the thing we used to send to the people, so I can post it on the website and people can discern it for themselves. It's not a product we have, but it is something that Carolyn has recommended in the past, and some people have believed it to be helpful. What I liked about it was the cortisol effect of the lithium.
Okay.
Because it's a suppressive. It works with the nephroderender or whatever that word is anyway. It works. I'm not a doctor, people. Don't get excited about what I say. But it helped me with my cortisol. It did. Yeah, and I dropped a couple pounds, which I thought was great at the time.
Right.
Okay, let's see. Where are we at with, let's see now. Oh, we need to take some phone calls, too. Gosh, we've been chitty-chatting away. Let's take a couple phone calls before the top of the hour, and we'll go back to our chat line. We'll go and talk to our very dear and wonderful listener, area code 917. David, good evening. How are you?
Hi, Ginny. Hi, Doctor. How are you?
Very well. Very good, David. What do you have to offer us today?
I know. Ginny, by any chance you have a video of the doctor dancing? You said she's a great dancer.
Dancing?
Yeah. Put it on YouTube.
Actually, I think we do. It's not with me. It is in 2014 when she was at the Sacred Fire, and she won the award for her work on the Sacred Fire on the Health Freedom Movement. We have pictures of she and Bob dancing and cutting a rug that night. I'll see if I can find it, David. It won't be tonight, but I'll find him.
That's a picture or video?
It's a video.
It was a video.
Yes. We want to see her shaking the booty.
Okay, very good. She looked very elegant. Bob was very handsome that evening. Bob's always handsome. Carolyn looked very elegant. She had a beautiful, beautiful dress on, and they just danced the night away. Yes, I'd be happy to show that when I can find it.
Okay.
You know what also, David, a recent video that just surfaced was my very first appearance on TV, and I was with Dr. Crook, who wrote the Yeast Connection, Dr. William Crook, up in Canada, in Toronto. So, yeah, Ginny, that
where we can find it.
On my YouTube channel.
On YouTube. Okay.
Bob, do you remember what it would have been called?
Candida, I think.
It's a Candida video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Also, David, you want to see the video of me doing a solo?
No, you don't.
Solo what?
Yeah, it's called The World's Greatest Dance or something like that.
All right.
You don't, David. No.
This is probably when the doctor say yes to you.
What did he say, Carol?
Well,
I missed
when
that.
When she said yes to you.
Oh, you danced when I said yes, Bob.
Yes,
no, it was a dance because we knew we were moving to Hawaii. It was in April 2008 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and we found out we were going to Hawaii. That's why I danced.
That's a reason to dance. Yes.
Yeah. So I found it. Thanks for distracting David, Bob.
Yep.
Yes. No, Bob is okay. All right.
Okay. I just sent it to Jenny. It's part 1, Candidiasis with Dr. Carolyn Dean and Dr. William Crook, November 20th, 1986.
Oh, my God.
I know, 86. Okay, David, we're coming up to the hour. Did you have a question?
Yes. A few programs ago, I think it was on the Pico Silver, you told us about your experience with the root canal and the Pico Silver. Can you repeat it, please, maybe after the hour? Because I'm going to go to a root canal very soon. So I want to know what exactly you did with the Pico Silver and how to convince the doctor to do it.
Okay, great. Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Visiting drcarolyndean.com.
AchieveRadio.com.
What city plays?
The old categories. They don't apply anymore. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
What city plays?
We're well beyond the categories for men and women right now. And we're just superhuman, discarnate things right now.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
I do advocate immediate fast to bring back the body.
Give me body.
Bring back the body.
Give me body.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
Here we go now. Come to the Carolyn. Here we go now. Here we go now. The Wellness Scene with Dr. D. Here we go now. Here we go now. Come to the Carolyn. The Wellness Scene with Dr. D.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean this Monday, January 13th, 2020, the year of perfect vision. And I can't resist it. I have had my own perfect vision just this very moment because I went on Dr. Dean TV to find the thing that Carolyn was talking about. And if you can believe it, ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn Dean is talking about panic attacks on the March 17th, 1995 episode of The Spirit Show, and she looks so amazing. She looks like she looks right now. It's her saying her words, saying the same thing. This is what you have to love about Carolyn, people. I mean, this is what you have to love. She is so consistent. It's incredible. Now, she's not talking about the magnesium because it's only 1995. She hasn't written it yet. And true to her testimonial, she was having heart palpitations and anxiety before she really discovered the power of magnesium. And then she had to take her own formula to actually be able to remedy some of that for herself. But she is still at it again, being an advocate for the public, an advocate for the public health, easing people's concerns, smoothing out the rough edges, using her beautiful smile and saying, hey, don't worry about a panic attack, people. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to be super dangerous. There are natural ways you can deal with it, and it's just so precious. So I'm going to post it here. You guys can just take a look at it. It's so cute. Love, love, love her so much. It's just wonderful. All right, now let's see. Yes, the medical establishment is finally catching up to Dr. Dean's 1986 information. And her 1995 show, P.S. Bob's Dance is great fun. Thank you, Nan. Thank you for saying that. Okay, now let's see
David.
Where we're at. David.
David wanted to know about root canal treatment, so let me go over that. When I went to the endodontist, had to have a root canal, I took a new bottle of Pico Silver that hadn't been opened, and I guess being a doctor, he listened to me, but perhaps if a customer said to their endodontist, well, you know how silver is used in babies' eyes, silver nitrate, they use silver on burns. Well, this is a silver product that has no additives. It's completely pure, just straight ions of silver. I would like you to syringe out a certain amount and flood my root canal with that before you pack it. So, I mean, as a what's the word? Not an anesthetic, but just something to clean it out as an anti-infective. And they'll use whatever they use as well, but if you could give that sort of speech to them, but whether or not they do it or not, then when you get home, what you do is put a teaspoon of Pico Silver and a teaspoon of Remag in only about 2 or 3 ounces of water, and then you take you take a big mouthful, but then you direct the liquid over to the side of the root canal, and you hold it there as long as you can, and then you swallow. Now, when you're holding it, you don't notice the strong taste of the Remag for some reason, and then you swallow it to get the good of it in your body, and then you can follow with a rinse of a swallow of your sea salt water. But I did that like every hour after I came home because my dentist said, he did the panoramic x-ray after, and he said, some of the calcium solution that we put at the base of the root canal before we fill it up with whatever they do, Gutta-percha, that calcium, he said, has migrated below the site and is near one of your nerves, and it could be painful. And that's where any pain after root canal, that's where it comes from. So I said, that's no worry. I'll just take extra Remag and it'll absorb or solubilize the calcium. I'm not worried about it. And I seriously did not have one moment of pain. So that's what will help the inflammation, any infection or any pain or any calcium that's gotten out of the root canal area into the surrounding tissue. So that's what you do, okay? And then, after you finish swallowing off that 2 or 3 ounces, then you do it again. You keep it going every hour or so while you're awake. And then the next day you see how you feel and maybe just do it a few times through the day. Okay, David?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Big hug, David. Talk to you later.
Okay. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, as we say in the beginning of every show, but I forgot to say today, Dr. Dean is a medical doctor and a naturopath, but she would not give medical advice on her show, but she would certainly tell you what to do if it were her in your shoes. And as you can tell, she does exactly what she would tell you to do. Another great thing about Dr. Dean. Okay. Zelda's asking, how would you know if you need calcium? I rarely hear about that. I do have osteoporosis.
Right. The way we talk about calcium is that a person requires probably 600 milligrams a day of a good calcium. I take my values from the World Health Organization and the UK, 600 to 700 milligrams a day. In the U.S., somehow we tell people to take huge amounts of calciums that aren't even properly absorbed. 600 milligrams if you're eating dairy products, you can usually get enough calcium. Deep green leafy vegetables have calcium. Fish bones have calcium. If you're not getting your calcium from food, then you do our Recalcia. I created Recalcia as a stabilized ion of calcium, which means it's fully absorbed and it'll go into the cells and do its work, and it will not precipitate as a calcium compound would. It will not precipitate and calcify in the body. So calcium is important. How do you know when you need it? That's difficult. Personally, if I don't have enough calcium, my knees will start hurting a little bit. And I developed that experience when I was trying out intravenous chelation on myself. I mean, I'm so silly. I would strap my own arm with a tourniquet and get my vein up and stick an IV needle in myself and tape
Oh,
it
my
down.
God, Carolyn, are you serious?
Of course I am. I had so much fun practicing that. I wanted to see what chelation felt like. Seriously, after 2 or 3 chelations, my knees started aching. So I said, uh-oh, I'm ripping the calcium out of my body. That can't be good. So when my knees act up, I have the Recalcia here. If I'm eating some dairy or whatever every day, I don't bother with Recalcia, but if not, I'll take a teaspoon. A teaspoon of Recalcia, 300 milligrams. So it's another one of these things that you really have to sort of study a little bit, judge, experiment with, see if you feel better on the Recalcia, etc. I know personally when I would eat a lot of yogurt, I'd buy a whole quart and eat it in a couple of days, and I would feel more magnesium deficiency symptoms because I was taking calcium on board. So I know that food-based calcium is well absorbed. I know that from personal experience. So just try on your own personal experience and check out the Recalcia and see if you feel any different.
Very good. Outstanding. A follow-up question from Julie. She said, thank you. You're amazing. Do you know when the RNA Reset drops will be available? And my understanding is about next week, beginning of next week is when they should be back.
Very good. Yeah, that's another thing that we have such incredible quality control. If we are not assured 100% of our quality, then we will just sort of sit back and sort things out until the quality is increased. And it's with the RNA drops, it's often that not often, but occasionally there'll be a little bit of bubbliness in the drops. So we're not going to ship them if they're bubbly, and there's a chance that they might bubble over when you open them. Is that fair words to say, Ginny?
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Yeah, the carbonation, but we want the carbon because that's part of the super sugar construct. So it's A-OK. It's all part of what we want. Yeah. Catherine typed in response to your answer from the first hour, Carolyn, and said, thank you for your most accurate answer. I am definitely living amongst a lot of stress. This is a gal who goes to work and has a stressful job. In fact, for all my life, combined with many medical problems, anxiety has been a big part of my life. I am currently doing EMDR with my therapist. It is beginning to help. So that is wonderful news. Wonderful news.
Wow.
Tamara wants to know how much Remag does one put on their scalp to promote hair growth?
Ginny, go ahead.
I would just take a little Remag and pour it in my palm and tousle it in, just like, I don't know, maybe like just a little dollop in your palm, and you just rub it like a hair product. Just rub it in, massage it, in the crown of your hair, wherever you want your hair to grow. Or stop thinning, in my case, which is what I was after, and it did. It stopped. Yep. It took about 2 months. But it's not an overnight thing, Everything responds accordingly. And that was me taking all the Remag in the whole wide world, of course, all the time. But sometimes just a little localized thing, which is what the lotion is great for, and take it straight out of the bottle is also really beneficial. Kelly types and says, I think I know the answer to this question, but to hear you say it will give me confidence. Are there any contraindications to using Pico Silver while taking chemo and radiation?
No, not at all. No, and we've had the reports from people when they spray the Pico Silver. I think it was a Pico Silver Remag on the radiation site. No radiation burns, nothing. We've had that report from people, so it's pretty awesome. No contraindications orally as well, none whatsoever.
Very good. Okay. Tracy's typing in and saying, Dr. Dean, in addition to your products, which I'm taking all to include 1.5 teaspoons of Remag and a teaspoon of Remite. What do you recommend for low ferritin? I can feel, especially a week before my cycle, my ferritin is always low normal when I get my blood drawn. It was 17 BY/ml in December with the reference range of 8 to 120. Thank you.
Right. Well, if it's goes along with a low iron, there. Let me see if I can find the website where there is a angstrom type of iron. I'll send it to Ginny and we'll put it on the chat. In terms of just increasing your ferritin, I mean, supposedly it's just related to iron, iron in the body. Ferritin is a storage of iron. There's a lot of controversy on that whole thing, but if you're feeling weak and your iron is low, then you want to take an iron that's more of an ionic iron than the horrible irons that people will have you take, or especially medicine will have you take. So I'm just looking for a proper iron. Oh, that's a British site. Okay, so yes, we'll put it on the chat as soon as I find one. Okay, Ginny, go ahead. Ginny's looking too, I guess.
I was trying to find it too, but I couldn't find it. But I know which one you're talking about. Okay, Nancy Clay says, I've been on Remite for about a month now, still working up to a teaspoon. I have tinnitus, and the past couple weeks it's elevated to a really high pitch. Never, ever been this loud. I try to block it, but it's not easy. My blood pressure seems to be normal. Can minerals affect this? I just started Remag this week.
To me, I might say it's a function of dehydration, because when you start taking minerals, you really have to be sure and do your hydration, because it's when the ears ring and when you have tinnitus, it can be related to low blood pressure or high blood pressure or dehydration. So look at your hydration first in terms of sorting that out. So yes, taking minerals, you really need to take your water as we talk about it. Take your body weight in pounds, divide that in half, and drink that many ounces of water.
Suzanne's typing in and saying, any idea when the coupons will be available for those of us participating in the Grassroots Health and their weekly trackers? They have been available, Suzanne. Just email Lisa in customer service, and she will get them to you. What we're doing is when you, after you've been on the, after you register and they get your test results, 30 days later, you should receive a monthly tracker. And in that monthly tracker, there is a coupon code for, and it's Remag, Remite, and for the Blue Ice Royal. So you'll get one in a rotation for 6 months, one coupon each month as you submit your tracker or your update, you get a coupon code in response. So if you haven't gotten those, just go ahead and shoot Lisa an email. She's working with the coordinator of the Grassroots Health Research Project, and she will get the code right back to you. No problem. Okay?
So we're bribing people to do this project.
Oh, bribing is so harsh. It makes it sound like it's not beneficial. No, it's we're actually being so incredibly generous. I mean, well exceeding the generosity of any other participant at this point, that we, for the $214 that it costs to register for the test results, we're offering $214 worth of coupons for the products over the course of that 6-month period of time to make sure that you can take the maximum dosing and you have everything on hand. And that's in conjunction with Blue Eyes Royal. Dave Wetzel, the CEO there, was very generous in being able to match our pricing, what we needed with the discount for that bottle of Blue Eyes Royal. It makes it like $13 or something. So, look, everybody's getting a great situation with that, because not only do you get your test results in the uptake, you get the evaluation every 30 days so that you can give your anecdotal data. You're not taking another test, but you're writing down, I'm sleeping better. And it's funny because you'll say, well, this month, instead of sleeping 6.5 hours, now I'm sleeping 6 3/4, and then it'll be 7, and then it'll be 7 15, or whatever. And over the course of the time, you'll be like, wow, I'm getting a lot better sleep, or yeah, my knees aren't creaking, or yeah, this, yeah. And you'll notice that over the 6-month period of time. And all those are being factored into this. And then as you do that, those coupon codes are coming out. So it's really comprehensive what we're doing as per usual. Carolyn doesn't do anything, half-witted. She's in 100% all the way. So it's a really great opportunity for people.
Right, and those were great words. We'll, the start of every show, we'll add the details, because I don't think people realize that for the cost of the test, we're offering that same amount in free coupons of our products, $214. So it is your Christmas and birthday present for 2020.
Yes. Now, let me just say this, Carolyn. This reminds me of my old days in customer service, this chat line tonight. Everybody has so many questions about anxiety, but here is our most precious Nicole. And here is something that's, so she's concerned because of the anxiety, and she's been taking the Remag, and she's not seeing any results, or not the results she'd like to have. And then we talked about the lithium, and then she just typed in innocently and said, and can I take lithium ortate with antidepressants? And is there any chance it'll make you feel worse? But isn't the side effect of antidepressants anxiety?
Yeah, yes, it can be, of course. Yeah.
So, maybe what's going on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk about that, and we certainly don't ask people on chat, well, what drugs are you taking? This is not a medical interview, but yes, certainly look up the side effects of antidepressants, and it can be anxiety, and in terms of using Remag in that milieu, it can work. It can work on the side effects of the medications, et cetera, and we don't know Nicole or Nicole's health, but we certainly know from all the recent research on antidepressants is they only work about 40% of the time. They work less than a placebo works. So what we're trying to do with our complement formulas is have people understand that taking all the nutrients that support the structure and function of the whole body can alleviate symptoms of anxiety and depression, and allow people to use the nutrients for their health rather than having to suppress their symptoms with medications. What we often do with moderate to heavy depression is recommend True Hope's Empower Plus. It's mainly high-dose vitamins and minerals and even some amino acids that really kind of blast through a lot of these symptoms and can help relieve people of their depression, manic depression even. And they have support staff too. Now, sometimes their support staff will say, don't take anything else. And we've had to admonish them many times that people can still take our Remag because that's very important in the whole depression and anxiety. So anyway, I wouldn't know what to say to Nicole. Can she take lithium on top of her antidepressants? I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry, Nicole.
Right. Very good. Okay, and also it's let's see, where are we here? I posted online. People are asking me. I just posted online the one on Amazon that I've used in the past that I know is reliable.
Uh-huh.
Debbie types in, any idea when your Remag lotion will be available?
Ginny, do you have that answer?
Carolyn. Well, one exciting thing about the Remag lotion, and you guys are all going to be thrilled. Hold on just one second. Hold on. Is we are redoing some of the packaging, and in particular the pump. The pump was giving people problems. So we've actually gone to a custom pump, and the custom pump is taking their custom time. So it looks like we're about 6 weeks out. In the meantime, we have a great little video that our customer service team made about how to take some of your Remag and put it in the spray misting bottle and use it on your body if you want to continue to get that topical dose. And if you're interested in having that, just email support, SUPPORT, at rnereset.com, and the team will send it to you, and then you can see our handy-dandy video on how to do that. Yeah. But about 6 more weeks, but you're going to be happy. You're going to be very happy because that pump is going to be awesome. It's a travel pump, and it's going to work perfectly every single time without fail or exception. We've spent a lot of time investigating this, so you're going to be very, very happy with that.
Right. What about...
anything else we want to tell people, Carolyn?
Yeah, what about telling people to take a good basic body cream that they like and put it in a blender and pour in an ounce or two of Remag and make their own Remag lotion?
Well, the thing of it is, and what we've talked about before, sometimes on the show, but sometimes not, is just that, number one, numero uno, the minute you do that, you are going to have a profound appreciation for Remag lotion because you will see that your Remag does not blend or stay together with your lotion.
Yeah.
And this is because the Remag does not play well with others. It's so concentrated, you guys. Just think about a bowling ball concentrated to the size of a gumball, concentrated to the size of a BB. That is what the concentration of Remag is. It's 60,000 parts per million. It's more concentrated than any formula you can find on the face of the earth. And because it's so concentrated, it doesn't bind with other things. And because it's a stabilized ion, it won't cooperate. It's like, it's not, there's nothing free about it. It's all just ready to go, bam, right where it's supposed to go. So you take your lotion and you blend it up. And as a matter of fact, we just had this happen with a practitioner the other day. They were just insistent, give us the formula, tell us how to do it. We're going to do it. And it's like, okay. So they went after it, and they couldn't do it. It just won't happen. So I like to say, just put it in a spray bottle and mist it, because that way you're not going to upset your lotion or your Remag. Basically.
Very good. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. All right, so where are we here? I think we're doing well.
Okay, let me go to the mailbag.
Yep, and then we'll take some phone calls. Very good.
Okay, I'll be quick. Okay, this is a doctor who wrote in, and he said, I'm a loyal customer whose health has been dramatically, emphasis, improved by Dr. Dean's Total Body Reset and Magnesium Protocol. My AFib, which has plagued me since 2006, over 13 years, seems to be on its way out. As of today, I just finished one full month without AFib episodes. That's the longest period free of them in over a year. Anyway, thank you for a great experience which has changed my life. Please thank Dr. Dean personally for me as I continue to speed towards my second month of being free of AFib, all because I found her ebook on AFib on the internet. So I answered and I said, we're all excited by your experience. Let me just remind you that after a month of Remag, your cells may actually want a bit more as magnesium begins to go into storage. I had to take 4 teaspoons for a year and a half to reach saturation. Now I only require 1 to 1.5. Also, don't forget about your other minerals, which you can obtain from Remite and sea salting your drinking water. I've updated my AFib book, and it's now called Heart Health. And it's a free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com. So I just wanted to throw that in there to just remind people it's not just about the Remag alone, and the AFib book is now called Heart Health because I put in all the other heart symptoms that magnesium deficiency can trigger, because I think with the heart, it can start with the tachycardia, the sort of the anxiety, elevated heart rate that people feel when their adrenal glands are a little overworked. Well, that starts, the heart sort of racing, and people feel anxious from that. Who knows what comes first? And then the racing can lead to some palpitations, and then down the road maybe AFib, and along the way people are having the other magnesium deficiency symptoms. So it's a great read, Heart Health, at drcarolyndeanlive.com. Comment, thank you so much for your specific replies to my concerns and affirming what I know to be true. Doctors tend to scare the hell out of you, then tell you that you need something really toxic to kill everything. I simply cannot express my gratitude enough for you, your team of wonderful customer service, your life-changing products, and all the years of research, plus your steadfast and brilliant mind coupled with a heart to help humanity. What a purpose you are fulfilling. Happy holidays and a joyous new year. That's from Robin. And there's some Amazon book reviews, a testimonial, but I will stop and see if Ginny has some phone calls for us.
Yep, wonderful. Yes, let's take a couple phone calls. Let's go to area code 352. 352, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment. Hello? 352. Okay. It doesn't sound like your phone is ringing working properly. It's just totally muffled. So I'm going to go on to the next caller, maybe hang up and call back in and see if you could get a better connection. Let's go to area code 731. 731, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment. Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
No. So will I continue on with the mailbag while maybe you ask Bill what could be going on?
Yes, I'm going to ask Bill. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Amazon book review. This is quite interesting. My wife was facing multiple issues which doctors couldn't relate or even find a solution for. We bumped into this book when Magnesium Miracle, when she got a reaction due to antibiotic levofloxacin. Now we know that's a fluoride-containing antibiotic. When reading online, I found a statement which said, the fact that you developed a reaction to levofloxacin proves that you were already deficient in magnesium. That's how we started our research and ran into your book. We did the tests, which this doctor mentions at the end of her book. That's me. So it would be the RBC blood test. Found my wife was depleted of magnesium. We started on Remag, and a lot of her levo side effect symptoms went away. But not just that. Her other symptoms, such as frequent headaches, burning of hands and feet at night, also vanished. Since then, I've recommended this book to many people suffering from similar symptoms. One reason I could think of why she got depleted of magnesium is because a year ago we switched to reverse osmosis water, and perhaps she stopped receiving the magnesium her body was receiving from the water. Isn't that interesting? Lot of information there to think about.
Wow. Yeah. Yep, and it's funny because we get that question a lot.
About what? The levofloxacin or the reverse osmosis? Or both, probably.
Both, probably. But, yeah, I was thinking about, we just talked about last week, the whole issue about water. Yeah.
Yeah. And a testimonial. A couple of comments on your Pico Silver. I had a heavy coating on my tongue, and my dentist gave me a tongue scraper, which did not do much at all. Then I asked my medical doctor, and he said it didn't matter having the coat on the tongue. Last month, fighting a cold, I was taking Pico Silver twice daily for a couple of weeks, swishing my mouth for a few minutes before swallowing it. The tongue coating is gone. Remarkable. Also, I had an infection in the belly button, and the doctor told me to use antifungal cream. No help. I poured silver into the belly button and left it in for 5 minutes. After several such treatments, the infection is gone. Isn't that sweet? Who knew?
Oh, wow, that's very cool.
Yeah. And, Jenny, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Okay, very good. All right, let's try to go back to the phone. Bill says it's just callers not realizing they've been queued for a phone call. So let's say again that 602-666-6027 is the number to call in. If you're on the phone and you'd like to talk to Dr. Dean, be sure to hit *5 on your keypad. *5 will raise your hand in the studio and let me know you have a question or comment. Right now, I'm going to go to the great state of Florida, to area code 352. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay,
Yay.
very good. Let's go.
Who talks?
Give
Hello?
us your first name and ask your question, okay?
Okay, my name is Rhea, and I have called before. I have been really struggling since last year. Actually, it was the day after Thanksgiving last year that I was diagnosed with shingles, and it's been a really long, rough road to travel these last few, because I did okay. I didn't do too badly with shingles, and I'm 78 years old. Actually, today is my birthday. But after the shingles, I got what's called post-herpetic neuralgia with a lot of pain. I had the shingles on my scalp and my left ear and down my neck and my back a little bit, mostly my neck and my shoulder. And I'm kind of coming out of it pretty well. I'm doing pretty good, I guess. But do you have any suggestions for me with this situation?
Well, when you called in before, Rhea, did you ask about the shingles?
No, I didn't. No, this only hit me, later after that. I was having digestive addiction issues.
Right. Because at the time, what we tell people with shingles is to spray on the Remag and the Pico Silver and also take it by mouth. I don't know if you got around to doing that sort of thing, but even now with the post-herpetic neuralgia, the Remag can help heal the nerves, and the Pico Silver can help the immune system. So that's what I would suggest.
Okay, I've been taking 2 teaspoons of the silver twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. Is that too much, or can I continue that for a while?
Yes, you continue it. You can continue it. I've taken that amount for various things, but spraying it on locally can be a game changer if you can do that.
Spray the silver with the Remag, the silver and the Remag together.
Yes, and you can use them full strength. Mix the two of them. I mix Pico Silver and Remag together 50-50, full strength, and I use it as a spray-on deodorant for my little armpits. It works really well. So after you're done with your post-traumatic neuralgia, you can use it as a deodorant.
Okay, yeah, because as I've gotten older, I haven't really needed deodorant. The hair on my hair and my body and my limbs has all disappeared, and it's really odd. Right. I'm not that old. I mean, I don't think I'm that old, but I guess I am.
No, your body is just perfecting itself. It's not toxic. You don't have any bad odors. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But do that. But really, Rhea, in a few days, call up customer service and let us know how that is, because I think that will really help. But I wanna know how it's going for you on your end. Okay.
Okay. I shall. I'll do that.
And how much Remag are you taking by mouth?
Well, I'm kind of sloughed off on all of my vitamins. I just, I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything. It was just all I could do was just to take some food. But I'm going to start taking it again. I just pretty much take it by the drop, teaspoon or two here and there, but not regular like I was.
Yeah.
But
I know what you're saying. When you're feeling that horrible, it's like you're not going to bother with anything. So it is time to get back on. Yeah, it's time to get back on all of them, because they're going to help heal you up. Okay?
Okay. I had gotten up to 2 teaspoons of Remag and 1 teaspoon of Remite and 1 teaspoon of Recalcia. And then it didn't, toward the end now, toward just recently, the whole mixture I never had any trouble drinking it down during the day, but now I have it left over till the next day, and then it doesn't taste so good. Should I not be drinking it the next day, the same water?
I don't know that I hadn't heard that that's a problem, because those minerals they're so stable. But perhaps in combination they might be binding themselves up. So try to get it down in the day. Put your day's worth in 16 ounces of sea salted water, and do a few gulps every hour or two. That's how I'm doing mine now. I do a few gulps, and it tastes a bit strong, and then I just put in another mouthful of sea salt water, and it's fine. But you get on it. I am standing up on a chair, shaking my finger at you and saying, Rhea, get back on your supplements. Okay?
I will. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah, let us know. Bye, Rhea.
Bye-bye.
Okay, goodness gracious. All right, here we go. Area code 781, the great state of Massachusetts. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, my name is Janice. I recently gave Remag to my elderly father, and I'm not sure I've done the right thing. He has problems with an enlarged prostate. He's had some bleeding that's stopped now, but I think the prostate is just enlarged and inflamed a little, and he's having problems now urinating. He's up every hour during the night, and it's painful to try to urinate. And the urologist gave him a medication which he didn't want to take after reading the insert with about all the side effects. It was supposed to shrink the prostate. It was called finasteride or something like that, and so I thought maybe the Remag, so I gave him a quarter of a teaspoon, and he put it in 4 ounces of water. He won't do something all day, and I'm not sure. And he's 97, and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I also, I was wondering. I thought maybe after taking the Remag that it would have lowered his blood pressure a little. So I said, why don't we test it? And it was 54, and I was a little concerned. So the next day we tried it, and it was 155, and his blood pressure has been sometimes in the 130s and sometimes in the 140s, and the doctor said at his age he's not concerned in the 140s because you need that pressure to get the blood throughout his body. I don't know if it went up. We only started the Remag on Friday, so it's only been, today's the 4th day. I don't know if I hadn't taken his blood pressure recently. I don't know if that went up after the Remag or before. But it could it have caused an increase in blood pressure in someone that old? Or?
No, it's the Remag does the opposite of that. It helps relax the blood vessels, and a quarter teaspoon is kind of a low amount. It's only 75 milligrams of magnesium, so it's a small amount.
Okay.
I mean, the thing with an enlarged, inflamed prostate, though, it is an inflammation of the prostate, and it's more related to sugar intake, for example. I mean, what I talk about with the prostate is really getting people on a yeast diet. So, I mean, that's going to be difficult for your father. I don't know what his diet is, if there's a lot of sugar or, white bread or refined foods, but, that's where the irritation can come from, is a yeast infection of the prostate caused by sugar in the diet or antibiotics or...
he hasn't had antibiotics. He likes sweets, but he doesn't eat a lot of. I keep bringing him pumpkin seeds and blueberries and everything, and he does snack on things like that. So you don't think the Remag will help, or?
It can help, but it's not specific for the prostate. I mean, Remite with the zinc, for example. Zinc is important for the prostate, but I'm wondering about, there's certain herbs that are used for the prostate that can help with the inflammation, like saw pimento. Have you looked at any herbal prostate formulas?
I know there are herbs, but I just didn't know if there were side effects. I don't know that much about them, so I was afraid to not experimenting. But
I know, but I mean, it's obvious he needs something, and the medications are pretty strong.
I think this medication is, a lot of younger men take it for hair loss, but it said it could enlarge the male breasts and could cause breast cancer. I don't know what else I don't know what else he read, but he said he wouldn't take it. So
right.
So
is there a naturopath of any sort in your area that you could ask? Because for someone who is getting up every hour at night and everything, his sleep is going to be affected. He could trip and fall at night. You really need to do something. But
I took him to one naturopath, actually just for a general evaluation before this became more of a problem, and I felt like she was more of a salesperson. She wanted him to do the Juice Plus, and then she told how a friend of hers owned this, and I was a little disappointed in the money that I spent, but maybe I could find someone else that would.
Yeah, it's not something I'd like to tell you over the phone and not, be able to follow up. You need someone who look at your dad and assess what's going on in his circumstances, and is he on his own? Are you there to take care of him? All those nuances, and then recommend something that they know can work and follow up. But I think that would be the best thing to do.
But the magnesium isn't specifically wouldn't help the prostate, or it could.
Will
but,
help.
It's not specific.
It will help the inflammation part because it's an anti-inflammatory. But if there's a yeast infection, the Pico Silver is more appropriate. Or in addition, the Pico Silver would be helpful. So while you're looking for a naturopath, then you could work with the Remag and stay with a quarter teaspoon for a week or even 2 weeks and make sure his blood pressure settles down. But you can add the Pico Silver any time and be, even from the beginning, start with a half a teaspoon twice a day and work up to a teaspoon twice a day. That's what I would do.
With the Remag, does it matter if he took it? He's putting in right now in 4 ounces of water. It's the most I could get him to do. And how long does that last? I'm sure it's better if you spread it out during the day and then you're continually getting some.
Well, what he'll do when you add the next 4 ounces is he'll do the first 4 ounces with the quarter teaspoon in the morning, and then he'll do another 4 ounces with a quarter teaspoon at lunch, and then another 4 ounces with a quarter teaspoon at supper time. So he can work it like that. That's fine.
So when you and generally I have started it at the same time. When you increase it, when do you start making it into two? For me, into two doses, like after a teaspoon, then you would split it up and do the second teaspoon later?
No, it's good to split it right from the beginning, because if you did a whole teaspoon at once, it'll go into the body, but you might lose some. If the cells get overloaded, then it's just a waste. So, and that's why we say, put the whole teaspoon in a liter of sea salted water and gulp it. You don't have to sip it through the day as if you're sipping every few minutes, but you can do a few gulps every hour or two and then follow with a drink of water, and then you'll have it done by the end of the day.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. Yes. You're a good daughter. I'm sure your father appreciates you. Thank you for calling, Rhea.
Thanks for your help. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, excellent. Sweet, sweet gal. That's very, very precious. Couple comments on the chat line. One of our dear friends, Nancy up in Portland, Oregon, Nancy L. I've had pretty good success adding Remag to another lotion I've used. It's a coconut-based lotion from Tropical Traditions, a big company with great coconut products, and many other quality categories of things, including foods. Anyway, it only separates a little bit in this product. Glad to hear what's happening with Remag lotion. I miss it. So thanks, Nancy, for sharing your success story. That's great. And then the other thing is Lulu types in, and she says, Dr. Dean, I've been following you since I have read your book, The Magnesium Miracle. I have used Remag before and continue using Calm Magnesium Powder to maintain. I recently restarted with Remag, which I drink throughout the day through my water bottle. I tell everyone I know around me with any problems to use magnesium. So far, all positive. I used to have migraines that are gone now. When I see someone suffering with migraines, the first thing I say is, are you using Remag? I have suffered from anxiety due to accumulated stress, and the only thing that helped me was Mag. Very, very sweet. Very sweet. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and Tracy said spraying Pico Silver when her nose gets itchy has thus far helped her avoid boils in the nose and or cold sores. I'm not exactly sure what it was that would come about every so often that would cause that, but now I have something that keeps it away. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, that's I've talked about that before, Tracy. Little boils in the nose, they tend to be staphylococcal boils. They'll come when your yeast overgrowth is a little bit elevated. At least that's what happens to me. And what do I do? Yeah, since the Pico Silver came along, I haven't had any recently. I don't know why, but anyway, I would put Pico Silver on a little cotton and swab it in there. So that's excellent. Wonderful news. But then maybe you have to go on a bit of a yeast detox if they come up, or just stop eating sugar for a few days.
Right on. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Okay, so we're doing well. I think we've talked with all of our chat people, and I think we've got everything sorted out so far on the chat line. I posted the link to the iron supplement that Dr. Dean's recommending on Amazon, so that's wonderful. And I think we've got people caught up. Oh, and Sharon typed in and says, do the RNA reset drops help with sadness and anxiety? The drops seem to bring me a bit of spice in life. And I think that's very appropriate, don't you, Carolyn?
Yeah, spice in life. That's exactly it. Very good.
Yeah, their drops are wonderful. Okay, and let's see where else. Yep, I think we're caught up. So we've got 5 minutes and 19 seconds left. And what shall we say now?
Okay, well, I wonder if we should talk more about the grassroots health research. Bob, you're not muted.
Carolyn, now everybody's raising their hands. This big rush for the final 5 minutes. Let's see if we can get in a couple calls real quick. Let's go to area code 630. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and a few minutes here before the top of the hour.
Hello. It's Victoria from Chicago. Hi, Dr. Dean.
Hi, Victoria. What's up?
Hi, Ginny. So I had, 6 weeks ago, I think I called with the total body meltdown. I am so happy. I'm going to cry again to say that every single issue is improving. So it was my body was just so incredibly mineral deplete that, and I bought everything. I have your whole completement formula. I did, and the questions that I had were answered already in the show. And I thought I raised my hand. If you're on speakerphone, it doesn't work. Yeah, so my questions were answered during the show. I realized because I was getting soft stools, and I was up to 3 teaspoons of the Remag. So I brought it even down to 2.5. I'm still soft, but I'm using quite a bit of the Remag lotion also. So I'm going to play with that. But I know you wanted me up to 3 teaspoons, but is that too much for me? I weigh about 115. I'm trying to gain weight. I don't weigh that much. Does that make a difference?
It depends on your symptoms, Victoria. If all your symptoms are easing away, then you're fine. Say if you start getting some of your pain back, etc., then that's when you'd increase a little bit, because the pain means you're breaking through your magnesium. See what I mean?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Pain means I'm breaking through the magnesium. I gotcha.
Right. I'm looking at your when you phoned in the first time. My gosh.
Oh, my gosh, the list went on and on and on. And that wasn't even everything.
Oh, my gosh, Morton's neuroma, fasciitis. So how are your feet?
Yeah, the feet are taking a little bit longer, but they're also showing marked improvements. Yeah, but that was the issue I had the longest. Like pretty much the like the peripheral neuropathy, the carpal tunnel, the spinal stenosis, all of that has like practically gone.
Wow.
And
you
but
were
I
talking
still
about the oxalate toxicity. I wonder how are you with your oxalate foods?
You know, I can handle that better. I can probably eat a medium oxalate diet now. They don't seem to affect me. I don't have any what's called the dumping symptoms at all. I'm still nervous to take 2 whole C's a day because supposedly those who produce oxalate, the C will turn into it, and I don't think I'm an endogenous producer, but I'm still kind of nervous about all that yet. It's not totally calmed down. So, but I am taking, the Realign, I know the Blue Rice Royal, the RNA Reset drops. I'm up to 10 a day, 5 and 5. Pico Silver. I wanted to know, though, my question to you is, you didn't want me to take any calcium because you thought the issues in my feet were due to calcification issues. So do you think I'm just like intuitively feeling like, because my teeth were shifting a little bit. Do teeth like move back to where they're supposed to go? And should I, because I do have ridges on my nails, the vertical ridges, which I know could either be like an iron or a calcium deficiency. So that was kind of a sign that I don't know what that's all about.
Well, let's look at the date when you first called in. You called in the second hour of December 2nd. So, yes, it's 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
And, right. Well, the thing is, Victoria, it's got to be how your body reacts. So what you do is do a real good assessment of all your symptoms, figure out on a scale of 1 to 10 how much pain you have or this or that. And then you do an experiment and do a teaspoon of the Recalcia a day and then see if your symptoms shift. It seems like you're going to be good at that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've only got 30 seconds
Thank
left
you, Dr. Dean.
Hour, Carolyn.
Okay.
Love you,
Victoria.
everyone. Thank you. Thanks a
Love
million.
you. Love
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Great way to end the show, Carolyn. Thank you, Bob.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. 2020, we're in perfect sync with a vision of awesomeness, a spectacular year.
Very good. Outstanding. Thanks, everybody.
AchieveRadio.com.